Hey, thanks for listening to episode number 2. I'm Joey.
And I'm Amanda.
And this is the Joey and Amanda podcast. If you missed our first episode, we talk about how we met and how we fell in love. So go check that out because this week we're telling the story of how we got engaged.
And I am still trying to figure out how the heck he pulled this crazy proposal off.
So I want to start in October.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like Stephanie's wedding.
Yes. So we went to Florida.
Yeah, so my best friend got married in October in Florida. So we took our first Fort Lauderdale trip together.
Yep.
It's my hometown, by the way. Shout out to people from South Florida.
But then after we spent time with your family, which was amazing.
Yes. It was very short for one day.
Mm-hmm. What happened? What did you think in Florida? What did you think going into our Florida trip?
Oh, I know where you're going with this. So before the Florida trip, so we've already talked about marriage a lot and all of this and engagement and blah, blah, blah.
We were already kind of planning our wedding a little bit.
We were actually, remember we were at Petty Cash and we were like, okay, when do we want to get married? And we set September.
We did
this year. Yeah. Very important.
So that's where we were already talking about it. We knew we wanted to get married. All that was left was me proposing.
Right. So this was our trip that we were going. Oh my gosh, I just remembered. Yeah. So we were going. I forgot that I thought you planned my parents going there, but you didn't. So okay. We go to Florida and beforehand.
For your friend's wedding. That was the real reason why we went there.
Yeah. So the reason we went to Florida was because it was my best friend's wedding. And it was just Joey and I, and we were going to go to South Florida and have a double date with my other best friend that lives in Miami. Then all of a sudden, my sister... I'm talking to my sister on the phone, and she's like, oh, yeah, and, Mom and Dad are going to see you in Florida. I'm like, what? She's like, oh, maybe this was a surprise. Oh, sorry. And then that got me thinking.
So right away, your first thought was...
So my first thought was like, okay, well, then I really think Joey might propose because there's this big surprise that my family's going to Florida while I'm there, and I wasn't supposed to know. And so I wasn't sure. So I was like, I don't think so. So I asked my friend... and she's like, oh my gosh, he's definitely going to propose when you go to Florida. And I was like, oh, and then the secret was out and my mom said, yeah, we're going to Florida. I wanted to surprise you, but I didn't want to overwhelm you because I know you already had this trip. Next thing I know, it's my mom and my dad going to Florida. My brother's going. My sister Bianca ended up going too. So I was like, wow, this really feels like it might be it.
Again, let me just say at this point,
you had no idea.
That was not the plan. But I will say that when, as we were getting closer to October, I did have the thought like, oh man, that would be a good time to do it. I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have a ring. I hadn't talked to your dad and gotten his blessing. Like I wasn't ready for that. But I did think,
what a great chance.
Good. But then as days went on, I talked myself out of it because two things. One, I didn't want to take away from Stephanie's wedding. I didn't want to, that weekend was for her. I didn't want to steal her thunder. So I talked myself out of it there. And I also realized that I hadn't talked to your dad yet. So that would be like,
right.
That wouldn't be right. So that made me realize, okay, you know what? That's what this trip is going to be. I'm going to talk to your dad and your mom.
So flip to my side.
So you're still thinking.
So I'm thinking. I
have no idea that you're thinking.
Yeah,
that,
Joey has no idea that I'm thinking that. So I keep going back and forth. I'm like, no, I don't think so. It doesn't feel like it's going to happen this soon. Like I don't know. And then I go and get my nails done, and I get my nails done every 2 weeks with this Fiona.
But this was
nails
like a special.
Yeah, and when I told her this, she was like, oh my gosh, he's definitely gonna propose. So we're already like, she's like, okay, well. Let's, we're already picking like, well, what nail polish am I going to be wearing? And I'm like, but I like, maybe not, but maybe yes. So keep going back and forth. And then we go to Florida.
And I'm ready and I'm prepared to talk to your parents. Like I had been thinking about what I wanted to say to them. I was very excited to talk to them, and and it was the first day. Right when we got there, we were all in the ocean, and I very naturally found myself alone with your dad, sort of like drifting, like we were walking a little bit in the water, and I looked around and I was like, oh my God, this is it. I gotta go for it right now. So quickly, do you want to talk about your dad for a second?
Oh, just my dad's personality,
Okay, your dad is like
just
the absolute sweetest. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, just tell the story.
Yeah, we'll say it after.
Okay, so so I looked around and we were alone, and I was like, so I just wanted to have a moment to talk to you. You know how much I love Amanda, and he cut me off, and he was like, oh yeah, so much. We see how much you love her and all this stuff and blah blah blah. And he's going on and it's so nice, and then I'm like, yes, and you know how much I love your family, and he cuts me off again. He's like, oh, and we love you, and then he's going on and on and on, and he's on a roll, and I'm letting him go.
And my dad talks 500 miles per hour, and it's very, very hard to get a word in. I mean, almost impossible. So
I'm letting him go because everything he's saying is so nice
and you can't
sweet.
Cut him off.
But not only that,
right.
like it was very nice. It was like it was actually a beautiful like conversation.
Yeah.
But I don't think he knew what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
And then he eventually finished, and I went, yeah. So and then I paused. And in the pause, he got right in there and just went again. And next thing I knew,
somebody else came up.
I think you walked up, or next thing I know, somebody walked up, and then people were all around. And
let me just say that it was only pretty much a half-day thing. Everybody just came to. They were so sweet. My family. They had to go back to work on Monday, and they knew I was only there for the weekend, and they didn't want to like interfere. So I only got to see them. It was only like half of a day. So that was your only chance.
That ended up being the only chance I had.
Yeah.
Wait, now that I'm thinking about this whole thing from your perspective, did anything happen when we were there where you were like, "Oh, this is it"? I'm trying to think if there was ever a moment where we were even
no. I
never were like
no, not at all.
I never even thought about that.
No. There was because there was no chance like for it to happen. I don't think just the way that the day went, everything was so fast. There's so many people there.
Right.
So no.
So anyway, so we leave and we come back, and I'm thinking, all right, I'm just gonna have to call your parents when the time comes. Mm-hmm. But I also notice when we get back that something was like we're just so in tune with each other that I knew immediately something was going on. That I just felt it. I just felt you weren't doing anything. Yeah. I just felt like something was going on. So I asked you, and you said that.
So yeah, it was. The thing is I did not want to bring it up with him, because if I brought up what I was thinking and then it didn't happen, then it was like I didn't want to ruin a surprise, or I didn't want him to feel a pressure, because we already talked about it. I already knew, we already set a date of like our everything, so I didn't want to pressure his timeline for what he wanted to do. So but he was like, there's, talk to me. We're supposed to be, open and everything. So I told him, I really didn't want to, but I just did. And
I finally got it out of you.
He got it out of me because I felt like it was unnecessary. It was going to happen anyway. So I knew that like in a day I would be fine. But so I told him, well, all my friends thought you were going to propose during this trip. And
I felt so bad.
And I said, it's totally fine that you didn't, but, I was thinking it. And then I said, I would love to propose to you, because at this point I was seriously thinking like, who cares? I'll get on one knee. I'll propose to you.
No.
And you were like, no, I
got this. I got this. But I will say that you saying that to me was like a kick in the butt. Like, all right, let's go. You got to do this thing like right now. So in a way, it all, you know, it all happened for a reason, because it gave me that like push, because to be honest, it was overwhelming for me to I didn't know how to.
I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want it to be a push either.
But it was good though. But it was I think I needed, I didn't know where to start and get how do I get a ring, and where how does that work? And so this is why it was perfect timing, because Thanksgiving was coming up and I was going
in November, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So when I went back to Chicago to see my family, I finally had time to talk to my parents, because they didn't know. They knew that we were going to be together for the rest of our lives, but I had never said to them, I want to do it right now. Like they just assumed that we would eventually get married. They didn't know. So I finally told them when I was there for Thanksgiving, and it was like a huge weight off my shoulders, because first of all, not only were they so supportive and like, oh yeah, yes, do it now. My mom and my sisters like dove in 3,000% on helping me put together a ring for you. Design a ring, which was a huge relief, and it was also really nice because of the ring that we created. You know, using my grandma's wedding ring stones and other things that had been passed down, and we really, it was this beautiful collaboration to put it together.
With the jeweler that knew your grandmother and your family,
yep.
And there's a connection.
Yep.
There's a meaning behind everything.
Exactly, and just not only that, but also just talking it all through with my parents was just, and my whole family at this point. It was so fun, and it was, and saying it out loud to somebody else other than you and like a couple buddies was like it made it all real and very exciting.
Yeah.
So I left Chicago really excited, because also like the ring was being created now, so it's happening.
Yeah.
And all that was left was I had to figure out how I wanted to actually propose, because I knew I wanted it to be a surprise, because you always surprise me with things, and I am so bad at surprising you with things.
No, you're great.
And I knew I wanted it filmed, because, you know, so that we could watch it. I knew you wanted it filmed.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to have it for our future children, and, you know, just something to look back on. I never got to see my parents or anything, so.
And I also knew that I wanted it to be kind of epic, but I didn't know how I wanted to do it yet. So I came back to LA with that as like my goal. From at that point to, I wanted it to be around New Year's to figure out what I was going to do.
And I want to just add that, like, rewind a little bit, that night in October when we talked, I was thinking, you know, maybe it was taking you a little bit because you're trying to figure out like the ring or the how are you going to surprise me. And that's that night I told you, you know, I don't really mind, like, if it's like you wake up one day and you show me a band, like, I don't mind, or if it's in our living room, like, whatever, it's totally
you did say that you never asked for the things to be epic or anything like that, but I just felt like that's what I wanted it to be. So
you came back in November.
So I came back in November.
So excited.
Yeah, but with not really a clue of what I wanted to do until.
We need to add that you came back from November. You came back in November from your trip. The first thing you said when we were in the kitchen, it's like, I want to, it was like, I want to tell you something. I'm like, what? And I had no idea what you were going to say. You're like, I'm designing the ring. And I'm like, why did he tell me?
I know. That's the surprise thing. I just was so excited because, especially on the way to the airport, when I was leaving Chicago, we had a meeting with the jewelers. So I was like,
and we tell each other everything.
And like 4 hours before I walked in our front door, I had just been with the jewelers designing it. So I was so excited. I couldn't help it.
You couldn't tell. So I was excited, but at the same time, I was like, why did he tell me? But yeah, it was still very exciting. But then we didn't keep talking about it because I was like, okay.
So going on elsewhere in the country, my sister, Marley, and your sister, Bianca, my sister moved back to Boulder around this time, and your sister was moving there for the first time around this time. Mm-hmm. So we connected them, and now they're good friends, which is awesome for us and for them. You had said that you were thinking about surprising your sister in Boulder.
Right.
That was the original.
Because my sister had just moved there, and now she's closer. She used to live in North Carolina, and it would be so easy to just jump on a plane, hang out with her for a weekend, and come back to LA.
So when you said that, I went, that would be pretty good. If you go to surprise her, what if I go and surprise you?
Yeah.
But I didn't want to ruin the surprise of your sister, and I didn't want her to be surprised by it too. If I was going to do that, I'd want your sister in on it. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to do it if you were surprising your sister, and then I would surprise you without her knowing.
Right.
So I sort of scratched it. I scratched that plan. I went back to Chicago for New Year's, and I was sitting in the kitchen with my whole family, and everyone's like, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? And I'm like, I don't know. And my sister said, because I had mentioned at some point that you were thinking about surprising, my sister said, why don't you come surprise her in Boulder? And for some reason, the way she said it, with this like calm confidence, I was like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I just needed you to actually go. Because you hadn't bought your ticket.
Right.
And I think you were sort of like, yeah, I'll go. There was no rush.
Yeah, there was no rush to go for me.
Right. So I was sort of asking you things like,
oh, you should really go.
Yeah,
You're gonna love it. Yeah, you said it a lot of times.
But I didn't want to overdo it and make it obvious. But I was saying things like, my sister wants to know if you're coming. She'd love to show you around Boulder. She's really excited. Blah, 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 blah. But then I felt like I was overdoing it a little bit, so I stopped doing that until I came back and you came back and we were both back in LA right after New Year's. It was like the next week. You said,
because Joey goes back to his family in Chicago and I go to my family in North Carolina, so we were back in town.
So I asked you like one more time what the Boulder thing was, and you had said, yeah, I want to do it, but it's not going to be like a surprise. She knows that I want to come. Mm-hmm. And when you told me that, I was like, great. And I went out and I called your sister and I told her everything, and she was like, we have to do this.
Oh my gosh.
And then she said, this is so crazy too, because I guess you had just texted her that day, like, I want to talk to you about a Boulder trip.
Yeah.
That day.
Oh,
and
wow.
she had just decided, I'm going to call her back later. And I happened to call right before she was calling you.
Oh my God. What?
So it was perfect timing.
That's crazy.
So she's like, what do you want me to say? And I said, push it like to happen, because let's do it. Let's do it like as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And so she was like, great. So we hang up. Your sister was so excited, all in, which made it even better.
Yeah.
I came upstairs and you were on the phone with your sister.
Yeah. So her birthday had just passed. This was January. Her birthday is January 13th. And I said, oh, I can come to Boulder. It was literally like 3 days notice, 3-day notice. I was on the phone with her. I was like, I can come this weekend. And you were probably thinking, oh my gosh, that's really quick.
That was a quick panic moment, because quick time out here. I don't have the ring yet at this point. I don't have it in my possession. They had said to me, it's going to be done by January 8th. So I was already back in LA, and they said they were going to send it to me overnight. It's a super safe way to do it. I was going to get it, but it wasn't going to be before January 8th. And you were planning this thing like it was like January 10th or 11th. Yeah, it was like not possible. So I was standing in the kitchen, and you were like, oh yeah, what about this weekend? And I was like, oh no. And then you said something like, the something about the flights, and I was like, oh, what about next weekend?
Yeah, because the flights were going to be cheaper the next weekend, and I was just like, well, we can do it next weekend. And yeah, I was like, does that work for you? And she's like, yeah, perfect. That works for me. And I said, okay, well, and then I just booked it right there.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting in the corner booking my own flight. And I'm texting my sister all the details. Like, it's happening. She didn't know what was going on. So I was.
Oh, so then you had to tell Marley about everything.
I was telling Marley, like, live updates, and she's freaking out. And so I think it was the next week.
Yeah. So not only was I going to visit my sister because she had just moved there and I wanted to visit her in her new place, but I also wanted to help her with her new business. And I was going to help her. She has she has a great clothing collection that she's been collecting for years. And I was going to help her photograph them and edit them on Photoshop and upload a website and do all of this design stuff that I know how to do. So that's why I was going to go to Boulder, is because I wanted to help her with her business and also hang out with her at the same time. But I was going to treat this more as a business trip. So I took all of the things that I needed.
Oh, something else that I did was I called the jeweler that was helping me. And I said, I need the ring because it's happening. And
it was a little delayed because that was already a week later.
Yeah. They said the soonest we can get it to you is Wednesday morning, which is right after you leave and right before I leave.
Yeah. So if it was any day later, you would end up going to Boulder without anything.
Yeah, I tried not to think about it and just focus on, like, it's going to get here. But I did. Oh, man,
It was raining.
The whole week it was raining. And I just thought, man, if there's any holdup at the post office or...
No. Oh, yeah.
Or
right.
Just anything with the weather or something went wrong with the address and it's sent back to Chicago, I'm not going to have it.
Yeah.
Because it was scheduled to get in Wednesday at 10, and I have to leave for the airport Thursday at 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
So Wednesday came and you left. Mm-hmm. And I had been also building up just that.
We're going to miss
I'm going to miss you so much.
Yeah.
And
him knowing that we're going to see each other in 2 days.
Yeah. But I really wanted to make it, super obvious that it was not happening.
I didn't even think about it. At any point, I would ever imagine that.
Well, I did have one slip up.
Yeah.
I said at some point, yeah, maybe we'll go when we get back from Boulder.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
And I was like, from the airport, when I get you from the airport, and we get back from the airport in Los Angeles when I pick you up. So you leave Wednesday morning, and then the ring was supposed to get here in 2 hours. So I go out. It's pouring rain in LA, and I was freaking out about this ring getting here. So I go outside the building, and I'm just waiting for the UPS truck to show up, and I'm standing in the rain for a half hour with my head on a swivel, looking left, right. Finally, it comes around the corner, and I meet the guy at the door. He goes to the back to get the package. When he came back to the door, I was...
The door of the truck.
Of the truck.
Yeah.
And he came back, and he was like, whoa! I scared him, and I was like, I have a package. I just rattled off all this stuff. And he was like, okay, yeah, sure. So then I left Thursday morning, and I had to...
We were texting I miss you.
This was the hardest part of the whole thing, was taking off to Boulder and
not saying I'm getting on a flight, because we always text each other right before we get on a flight.
Yeah, right.
So. And
making it kind of seem like I'm still in LA because I didn't want it. I was so conscious of. I was super safe about it. I just didn't want you to for 1 second think, is he coming?
I would have never thought that.
But in my mind,
right.
So I get in, and the plan was for my sister to set up a plan with you to go hiking on Friday with your sister.
Yeah.
And I was going to be at the top of the hike. That was the plan. So Friday morning, we get up. Also, the weather was supposed to be 40s and cloudy. Nothing special. We woke up Friday morning. It was a downpour of snow. It was snowing like crazy, which was incredible. It looked so beautiful out. And we drove around Boulder looking for the right mountain to pick out, and we found one that we loved, and Phil and I sort of...
You had a map?
Yeah, we mapped it out. We got it all planned out, how we were going to film it and how we were going to reveal me. And I knew I didn't want to surprise you. Like, I didn't want you to jump.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do, like, you turn the corner and jump thing.
Because I get scared easily.
So we found
you got the beautiful blanket.
Yeah, the
candles.
that was right after. So we set up this. We found the spot and we were like, this is a perfect spot. It's right where you walk through this pathway of trees, and I'm sort of like at the top of this thing. So there's time for you to see me and process what's happening. And it's not so much of like a shock and then boom, boom thing.
Yeah.
I didn't want that.
By the way, I'm smiling from ear to ear this whole time.
So,
like, not in the story. I mean, literally right now while we're doing the podcast, hearing this back.
So we leave the mountain, and I go and get a blanket and some lights, and we were all just freaking out in the house. Me and my sister and Phil are in the house for 2 hours, just freaking out, like. This is happening. It's happening.
Meanwhile, on our side of town, down the street in my sister's apartment, we are just like working on stuff and PJs. Mind you, I did not think I was going to be proposed to during this trip or there was going to be any celebrating. So I only brought like these baggy pants, I just brought stuff that I was going to just lounge around, hang out with my sister. I didn't even bring a bra. I brought like the most like granny underwear, like just my pants had a hole in them. Like I did not come prepared to, I don't know, celebrate an engagement later or something. So anyway, my sister and I I text Marley and Marley texts me and she's like, hey, do you want to go hiking? I said, yeah, perfect. That'd be great. And my sister was like, oh yeah, let's go hiking. And we started getting ready. We had some food. I had some Indian food. So lovely breath during the engagement. We had some Indian food, and then we were going to go pick up Marley for this hike. And, so we picked Marley up. So
Phil and I were going to leave and go up to the mountain early. And then once we left, Marley was going to text you and say, I'm ready. So that's what happened. So we left to go up to the mountain. And then we told Marley, like, give us like 5-10 minutes ahead of time because we have to set everything up, make sure that we're set up and ready to go before you guys get there. So Marley waits and texts you.
Yeah, well, actually, Marley texted Bianca, which for 1 second, I didn't think anything proposal-wise, but I did think like, oh, she didn't text me, she texted you, and now I get why.
Yep.
And Bianca was like, I don't know what Bianca said, but I don't think twice.
Did you know that did I ever tell you, or did they ever tell you, they had a code?
No.
A texting code?
No.
So if Marley texted Bianca just hi, that meant walk away because I'm going to text you information.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah. So I go up with Phil, and we get up to the spot, and we're in the spot where I'll be able to see you once you're like, 2 or 3 minutes away. So I know when you're coming. So,
oh my gosh.
So Marley picks you up.
Yeah.
Imagine what Marley and Bianca are thinking in this car ride. And you're just sitting there like la-di-da.
Yeah.
And they're freaking out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And while this, I'm texting Joey saying, I miss you. We're going hiking, like sending him videos and photos and things like that.
So then you guys pull up, you get there. Mm-hmm. Marley texts me.
It's unbelievably beautiful.
Yeah. Marley says we're here. So now I know. Here they come. It's beautiful. The snow.
It was unreal. It was like a dream. It was so nice.
So I eventually see you guys coming. Mm-hmm. And,
while I'm walking up, I say, I miss Joey. I wish Joey was here. And then I say, Oh, and then I just say, I'm so happy because I was. I mean, I was just so happy. I was there with my sister, with Marley. Everything was so beautiful. I was just in such a great mood.
And then you took a video.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then I took a little video and I texted it to you.
Yeah.
And then Marley said, hey, do you want to live stream? Oh, this would be nice to live stream.
We had thought at some point it could be a good idea to ask you if you wanted to live stream so that our families who
aren't able to be there for the moment
could watch on a live stream. Because if you were holding your phone and you see me, I was thinking you would like hand your phone off to somebody else.
I would have, yeah.
And
my parents always watch all my live streams.
Exactly. So I was thinking it'd be a great way for people to watch.
Yeah. So then Marley said, oh, do you want to live stream? And I go and I grab my phone and I'm looking down at my phone. I was checking to see if I had signal and I was about to live stream. And then I look up and Marley's videoing me. And I didn't think anything weird of it because I video so many moments all the time. And I was like, oh, is it video or photo? She's like, oh, it's a video. I was like, oh, hi. And then I go look down again because I was about to do the live stream. And then I do a quick look up. And Joey is standing right there at the top of the mountain. And I could not believe it. I was just so shocked. I was so mind blown. I was so tricked. I couldn't believe this was real life. And as soon as I saw him, I knew what was going to happen. But I was so surprised. I just started shaking. Both my legs were just shaking uncontrollably.
You kept saying, like, oh my God, I feel like I'm dreaming.
Yeah, I felt like I was dreaming. It was so unreal. Oh my gosh. Every time I think about it, I still can't believe that.
It really was. That day could not have gone any better.
Yeah.
Any better. It couldn't have.
And then he walked me over to this little spot. It was this perfect spot where he had all these plastic candles. You know, because it was snowing, so it couldn't have real candles, but all these like little candles, which I loved because he knows how much I love candles, and we have so many candles in our home. And he had this fuzzy blanket, and he knows I love any fuzzy, but we have so many fuzzy blankets and jackets and things like that. So he put it over me, and then
well, actually, I don't remember what I said.
I don't, because you kind of black out. And people
I totally blacked out.
And people, that haven't proposed to know this.
I know what I said because we have a video of it. But if you asked me what happened, I have no idea.
Yeah, I kind of blacked out too. The only thing I remember is that the things that you said, which I think was quick because I probably cut you off real quick and said yes. But but the things that you said is what we say to each other every night. Like it wasn't anything. Every single night, it sounds like we're proposing to each other. We're just, I think it's something special that we do every night. We just say thank you and how much we're so appreciative for what we do for each other and how we want to spend the rest of our lives with each other and how much we love each other. And we say that nightly. So it felt like one of those. That's kind of, I think, what it was. And the blanket fell from my shoulders right when I looked down and everything happened. And as soon as you put the ring on me, this was Bianca. Oh, so it was Bianca, her boyfriend, and Marley and Phil. And Phil was videoing everything. So as soon as after it happened, I don't know who, because I can't remember, grabbed the blanket and put it back on me. And then Joey, he grabbed the ring in the box and he just looked at me. And this was like within seconds of him proposing, and they just took another photo so I can actually have the blanket on. So that photo that we posted actually was a redo, but I didn't even know it was a redo until later when I watched the video, because we were so just in love and in shock and in the moment that when we looked at the video, I was like, oh my gosh, we remembered that we had redone it for the photo, but our faces were still.
We were smiling like that for hours.
Oh my gosh, yes. Can I just say, we'll go back to that moment, but can I just say that that day I smiled the whole way down. I sat in the car smiling all the way down. Like I smiled at every single person. We got back and I had to collect all my things. And while I'm picking things out of the luggage, like, and in the bathroom and everything, I'm just smiling, like the biggest smile on my face. I could not wipe it off.
That was the other surprise. I said, well, you have to go pack your stuff because we're going to a hotel.
Oh, yeah.
You're leaving your sister's place. We're going.
So that was another thing is, if you mentally have something scheduled in your mind and you know what you're going to do, you have everything planned. Like, it was really, excuse my French. Oh, well, yeah, we're keeping this clean. So, it was a mind. It was a mind. Yeah. So I was so shocked that not only was I engaged now, he was standing at the top of a mountain, but and then he's like, oh, and I got the seat next to you on the flight back home. I was like, what? And so everything was just completely changed from the trip. So that just blew my mind, and I just can't explain it. It's just hard to explain.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it really was. And the great part about this whole thing also is that I was taking Instagram stories throughout this whole trip of visiting my sisters. So I had so many videos and snippets of like walking around with my sister and like working on the clothing. I even have a video that I had posted like walking up the actual mountain right before Joey proposed. So I have a lot of my side of the story footage. Yes, I have a lot of footage from my side of the story recorded. So Joey ended up putting a little video together with clipping all of the footage, a quick bit of the proposal, and putting music in the background. And we posted that on the Instagram story, but we can post it on YouTube. Yeah. And we can put the link under this podcast if you guys would like to see it. Yeah. Or you can just go to either our.
Because now that everyone knows the whole story, everything that led to it, I think it's going to change the way you watch.
Right.
You watch it.
The video. Exactly. Yeah. So we'll put that up there.
Yeah. I just remembered a quick little funny story.
The elevator?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Did you remember it while I was
at one point, but never. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so it's Thursday. I'm sneaking out of LA to go to Boulder. I'm amped. Like I'm bouncing around the apartment, waiting for the Uber to get here. Uber gets here. I'm out the door, sprinting down the hallway to the elevator. I get to the elevator, and as I get there, it's closing. And the guy in there like heard me coming because I probably was walking like a maniac. And he held the door. The elevator door opens up again. I come in. We just give each other just, the casual head nod that you do when you walk into an elevator and somebody's in there.
Yeah.
And I just look at him as the doors are closing. And I go, I'm getting an Uber right now to go to Boulder to propose to my girlfriend. I just, as fast as I could talk, I do the whole plan. I told him everything in 3 seconds. He's just staring at me like, sick, dude. And then we have to ride the rest of the elevator down in silence because he just wasn't.
He's just like, okay.
Yeah, he's like, okay. He's like, I'm gonna.
You didn't tell the Uber driver?
Well, I wanted to tell the Uber driver so bad, but after that experience in the elevator, I was like, all right, keep it in.
Yeah, because then you're going to have to drive all the way.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Speaking of, so funny. Because, you get engaged and you just want to, everybody, you're just so excited. And I'm sure for you, you wanted to tell people what was about to happen. It's a big deal. So, but to some people, it's not. Actually, that just reminded me, just a little funny story. The next day when we had breakfast with everybody at a restaurant.
Wait, can I just cut you off for a split second and just say, throughout the whole planning process of everything, the minute I told the hotel, once I told the hotel what was going on, they're like, "Oh, we have a different room for you." When I called to get a reservation at a bar to like have this area, I asked for this like a nice area for us all to sit, and they were like, "Oh no, we don't really have that." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well." And then I told them the whole plan. And they were like, "Oh, we have an area for you."
Yeah, so as soon as you tell people that that we got engaged,
that stuff would start changing, and people were making things work. Anyway.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I'm sure Phil, Marley's boyfriend, during breakfast tells the waiter, I don't know why he told him, but he just said,
excited.
Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, and they just got engaged. And the waiter was like, I know. Just imagine like droopy eyes, straight face, just like, I do not care. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what he said with his I know. And I just couldn't help it. I started laughing a little bit because it's like, oh my God, he doesn't care at all. Can we just not tell anybody?
So that's the story.
So that's the story. We will put it up on the little video he made with the music on YouTube. We'll leave the link for you guys. And thanks for listening. I'm excited thank you. By the way, really quickly, thank you for everybody that sent us the nicest messages, the nicest comments. For anybody that has been commenting under the comment section, thank you so much. I'm going to do a little giveaway for this one just to thank you guys. So I'm going to pick a random person that commented and I'm going to gift you an art print because you guys are awesome. And I really, really appreciate all of the nice words and the 5 stars and all that good stuff.
And the people who've reached out from around the world on Instagram and whatever.
Thailand and Europe and South America. You guys are awesome. India.
We read everything. And every single time we like gush over a message. And so thank you so much.
Can we write back to them or do they just comment or are we allowed to?
Not on a podcast.
Oh.
But on other things we can.
On iTunes we can't like comment back?
No.
Oh. Well, since we can't.
I don't think so. Can we?
Well, we'll figure it out. Yeah. But thank you guys. We read all of them.
Hey, guess what? We're engaged.
We're engaged now. You're my fiance, no more boyfriend. Love you guys. Thank you so much. See you next week.